Yeah, I want to present my quick view on aliens and UFOs because this has become sort of a hot topic on the internet. But I'm not going to, I'm just going to talk, but I'm going to throw some common sense things out there. I'm not going to show you pictures of dead aliens. Um, this is my cat. He's like, if he sees any lizard people out there, like the David Icke, the sportscaster turned Messiah, talks about all the time. He'll sniff him out, and I'm going to get him a little buddy. Been looking at another little cat. So they work better in pairs, Anyway, but one thing, what I think, and this is where it goes right back to square one. I'm just going to put out some real common sense things. Wernher von Braun, the German scientist that was actually behind a lot of our space program, on his deathbed, allegedly he said that they were going to do a fake alien invasion. I don't know how true that is. That was a long time ago that he died. I forgot what year it was, whatever. But I think that a lot of the UFOs that people see, that they pick up on their cell phones and things like that, they have their cell phone cameras. There's a lot of postings on YouTube that, you see a UFO here and there. I think they're fake. They might be secret military projects, but I think they're fake. I was aware of Project Bluebeam for a while. It's like they can use 3D holographs and stuff like that to project images that look like 3D images in the sky. I know there's a lot, I think it's a mixture. I think there's actually is stuff that there is real UFOs and aliens, and then there's fake. So that's what the one thing you got to watch out for. In some ways, in some circles, this is a hot topic. With the average person, I think it's total BS. But if there's a disinformation campaign out there about, throwing fake UFOs out there, I think the average person should be aware of that. And it's not put out just by pranksters. Like I said, Wernher von Braun allegedly said on his deathbed that they were going to stage a fake alien invasion at some point. I don't know when that is. Don't hold your breath. Don't worry about it. But just keep it in the back of your head. And you can look that up. You can look that up, what he allegedly said. But it kind of makes sense because if you're going to either say one thing or the other, you're going to say with all these cell phone images that people see all over the place with all these different, objects in the sky that people pick up on their cameras on their cell phones, because we all have this tech, we're all walking around with a camera today, right? Because we have a cell phone with a good camera, at least a 720 dots per inch, whatever, high resolution. And people are picking these things up. So either they're real or they're disinformation. I tend to think they're disinformation. I put out a story recently about UFOs over Iran. That may be the infidels doing that stuff, screwing with them. I don't know. Who the hell knows? But on the other flip side of this thing, are aliens possibly real? Like, other life forms? If you look up, the odds of it, how many different solar systems there are in the universe. God, there must be gazillions of them, right? But, the one thing to actually get, if you get down to concrete earth things, something that you could see and touch and feel, and, not that I ever saw an alien or anything, but, if you look at some of the structures that were built on this earth many thousands of years ago, you could say, how did people move these 40-ton blocks and some of them up to 100 tons? And then maybe you could think of a way they did it. But then you start thinking, how did they make this thing like there's a slab over inside these, temples or whatever the hell it is that were polished practically and down to a 1/10,000th of an inch in accuracy? How the hell did they make that with stone tools? Huh? That's some real high-tech stuff. And then there's no writings on how they did it, right? So it's either telling you there was really super smart humans back then and all the super smart humans died and all the dumb ones were left and they had to figure it out, and now it took them up to maybe the 21st century to figure out how to do some of this stuff. Or there was another race of people down there doing this stuff that was from someplace else or whatever, One of the two. And so that's one concrete thing you could say about aliens that probably is legit, because if you look at some of the structures that are around us on the earth, that some, it depends on what the archaeologist says. Some say they're 5,000 years old, some say they're 10 or 15,000 years old. They're probably a lot older, Like the pyramids may have been used as electrical generators for one thing. You know, that's almost going back to like what Tesla was doing. Nikola Tesla was doing with his generator in Colorado early in the late 1800s, in his earlier scientific years. They used to have earth batteries and earth generators to send radio signals and stuff through the ground and stuff like that. It was like, I think that's why the single crystal radio used to work so good. They used to have a signal go through the ground so it could pick it up. You know, now they want to charge you money because they're using a satellite. So you want to charge you money for everything, right? It's the game. But so I mean, I think there actually probably is legit UFOs and legit aliens. There probably is. It's probably some reality to that, but it's not just disinformation from hoaxers, and it's not just disinformation from people thinking they saw something and they didn't see something. I think there's actual stuff out there that's put out by the various governments in the world for some kind of ulterior motive. And maybe the ulterior motive is that you have to unite together under one power in the world to fight this outside power. You know, maybe it might be something like that. You know, because that's basically the freaking idea behind the environmental movement too, somewhat. It's like we have a threat, we have a common threat. So how do we get everybody to come together and sacrifice and go under one central authority? You got to have an outside threat. Either it's to the environment or it's from, it's aliens or some shit, So actually that's my view on that. I just want to keep that real quick because I think most of it is bullshit. That's in my opinion of it. But I don't think it's all bullshit. That's what I think too. I think Phil Schneider was legit. Was one I put a video out on before. He probably was legit. The guys that blew the whistle on Project Bluebeam, which is like they can make 3D images anywhere place they want in the sky, make things look like UFOs and stuff. I think they're legit because they died. They were killed or accidented or whatever the hell it was. So, there's a mixture. But, one thing I always kept in mind was Wernher von Braun's alleged deathbed confession or advice or whatever it was, or warning, that there was going to be a fake alien threat or fake alien invasion that was going to be perpetrated by the governments or some crap like that. And that may be true, because that coincides with Project Bluebeam. But as far as there actually being also real UFOs and maybe real aliens, possibly. And, I will not use like a cell phone image or somebody saw something or whatever, said they saw this or whatever, they teleported up into a spaceship or whatever, they think this, they think that. What I kind of look at with that is the ancient structures in the world. There's some very smart people that built that stuff, and they built it with a high degree of accuracy. It's like they couldn't even build a lot of that stuff today, even with the best equipment they have. Not nearly as accurate. So who the hell built it? Humans? And what happened to them? What all those smart humans died off and they didn't leave any records or anything like that? And only the dumb humans were left, for the next so many centuries, where people were like, going around with, they used the biggest invention they had was the wheel, A lot of this stuff that was built with these temples and stuff with the accuracy of 10,000ths of an inch on solid granite stone, where you have a large slab that are so many meters long and it's flat within a 10,000th of an inch. That was actually like made with some kind of like laser instruments practically. It couldn't be that. Like, in other words, we couldn't even measure that accuracy, anything that accurate, even in 1955. We need to have lasers to measure the accuracy, but somebody made something that accurate back 10,000 years ago. Was that a human? Probably not. Probably not. Unless all the smart humans died off and all the dumb ones were left. That's maybe what happened. I don't know. But so there's probably truth to both sides of the story. But I think there's a lot of disinformation out there with UFOs. A lot. A hell of a lot. A hell of a lot. It's a fear campaign. It's bullshit. That's what I think for the most part of it is. It's like the H.G. Wells. And there's some powers out there that got an agenda by pushing this garbage. So keep it in mind, but don't be a giddy mind about it. And the guy that's the sportscaster turned messiah, he don't know nothing. He's probably part of the disinformation campaign too. That's my opinion on that guy, because I never saw any lizard people. Supposedly his ex-wife, he said, put something out of that a while ago, and people got pissed off, but some people, fans of his, but supposedly his ex-wife, he accused her of turning into a shape-shifting lizard. So he divorced her. He's a kook. So, but there's some truth to some of this UFO alien thing, and I think some of the sightings are real legit. But are the sightings of an alien, or is it a projected image? It's probably projected image, even though there's probably some kind of other life forms around, and they probably visited the Earth at some point in time. They're not around too active, I don't think. I think it's mainly total BS that's being played on freaking people for the most part. And you got to remember the game. And also, just I want to repeat again, remember Wernher von Braun's words. Maybe there's not going to be a fake alien invasion or a fake alien threat, but maybe he's got the gist of things right. That there is an agenda out there to keep people thinking that there's UFOs and aliens and stuff. Because people really are picking up stuff on their cameras, right? Their cell phone cameras, they're picking up stuff. It's all over the world. You go over to China, Mexico, whatever. There's people finding stuff on their cameras. And they're not, so you see the image. It's not faked. But is it something that's being projected in the sky? That's what I think it is. I think it's disinformation, for the most part. Although I will admit that at some point in time, and maybe at one point in time in this Earth, that this Earth was visited by other life forms, because I don't see how the hell people built some of this stuff that's around today. That's, you can just, I could take it, I could say, here it is, here's the object, it's there, like when we're talking about like a big temple that was made out of these giant 40 or 100 ton stones, and they're real accurate. Hey, that's not a hologram. That's real. You can knock on it because it's solid rock, right? So, it's not like it's all BS, but I think there is a lot of different disinformation out there. And some of the biggest players that are experts in this field are probably disinformation, too. The only one I think that really touted a lot of this UFO stuff and alien stuff that I think was legit was Phil Schneider. Why? Because he's dead. He's dead. And he said there was a number of attempts on his life, and I think it was the 13th attempt that did him in. That's when I started paying attention. The guys that brought out Project Bluebeam, they're dead too. That's why you got to pay attention. Pay attention to that kind of stuff. So there's probably truth there, and it's somebody's trying to shut them up. So that's my opinion on it, but watch out for the disinformation, because there's probably a lot more of that going on. And there is a project to scare the hell out of people, or some garbage. I don't know what the deal is, but there's something out there. I think it's actually, I think a lot of these people's cell phone images are holograms. That may be.